You seem very confident in your videos, and I feel like a lot of people in the comments look at YouTubers and maybe think they're almost invincible. They don't feel emotions. Is that something you feel as well?
Yeah. I think it's been talked about quite a lot online and that sort of thing, but it is really easy to hide behind a comment, and people do say some nasty things, forgetting that I'm a human being with feelings on the other side of these videos, and I'm trying to think of examples, but I suppose it would be wrong to sort of point fingers and try and haul examples up. But it's just, I suppose, just there's been days when I've been seriously doubting my I've been very sort of self-conscious about a video that I've put out, and then I go on the comment section and there's a few comments which confirm my doubts about the video, and I found it really knocking of my confidence, and I've thought, oh well, I'm no good at that, I can't do that anymore, or I need to stop doing that because no one likes it, even though it is often a minority. But yes, there's certainly, people forget, not all people, it would be wrong to say all people, but I think some people do forget that sometimes it is all, I can only speak for myself, but I do read a lot of the comments, probably more than I should at times, and I think some people do forget that it is a human being that's put their love and heart and desire into a certain video, and then for it to get ripped apart for one spelling mistake 7 minutes in, or this and that, it can be quite galling at times.
I think people can be so petty at times, can't they?
Well, yes, to be honest, that's quite a good example. Often it's little things like a spelling mistake or a slightly wonky transition rather than a few of the others, or I got a corner name wrong, or I pronounced it wrong or something, and I'm torn apart for it. It's a bit like, come on, there was 8 minutes. I poured 8 minutes of my soul into that video to try and make it as good as it could possibly be, and all you have to say about it is that I spelt or pronounced Haas wrong 8 minutes and 50 seconds into it.
I don't have the same kind of YouTube experience as you with like criticism and a large audience, but I'm definitely someone who's quite self-critical as well, and I don't know, I feel like
it. Go on, sorry.
I can kind of like understand that, but even when I do, it's sometimes difficult to put it aside and say, actually I shouldn't be be so downbeat about what this person's saying.
I can totally empathise with that, because it bleeds into my work as well. Because at work I'm often, because it's never been a full-time thing for me, YouTube, and at work, if I make a mistake, I'll just tear myself apart about it, and often I need someone to shake me and say, look, chill out, it's fine, everyone makes mistakes, and it will really knock my confidence, and often it takes a long time or many weeks for my confidence to come back, which I would say is one of the biggest things I've had to sort of work on and care about and remind myself, because I sort of hold myself to standards, and I suppose you would probably be able to empathise with this. You hold yourself to standards that you wouldn't hold anyone else to. And any slight little hiccup in the road, or any slight decision which was wrong, you sort of, you pile on yourself. And lambast yourself almost, when it's not healthy to do that. And you would never, if someone made a mistake at work or whatever, you're not going to start shouting at them. You'd probably just say, it's fine, don't worry about it. So I often laugh, because I think, well, why don't I do that to myself? why don't I put an arm around myself instead of just being really, really harsh on myself a lot of the time. Another interest, this is a slight deviation from the confidence thing, but another one of the things I wanted to talk about actually, around sort of things that I've found difficult with mental health. I mean, as I say, I've never suffered with depression or anything like that. You know, I've never. Oh my word! What on earth is going on here? This was a.
I was waiting for you to arrive and see.
Oh my word! Right. I've just gained about 14 positions on one corner. That was a terrible time as well for something that dramatic to happen. I was just going into some really serious stuff. Never mind.
Right, continue.
Well, thank you for that. If that was you, that's just got me up to P4.
Oh God, it's raining.
So yeah, so I've never really, I've never suffered with terrible mental health. I have generally been fortunate in that regard. Oh, it is raining, you're right. And as I say, over the last few years, I've really started to look after it and make sure that it's in a good shape. But one of the things I've always struggled with this, and it's only in these last few years where I've started, giving myself thinking about it and thinking about the mental health conversation, is that I just feel really guilty about not doing anything productive. Just because with YouTube, and I'm so sort of drilled into having a YouTube channel coming up for 10 years now, there's always something that you can do. Even if you've uploaded that morning, there's always, you can always work on a thumbnail or work on the next video or get some recording done or do a little commentary or have a little think about some ideas for your next video and what have you. And I've always it's got to the point after a few years of doing it, where to have a day where I just have a day doing, have a day off where I just do things that I enjoy that aren't, producing videos or what have you. I almost feel guilty about it, and I almost start being really harsh on myself for daring to have an afternoon where I just sit on the couch and watch television, and and I still struggle with it. It's a really difficult mindset to shake off, this whole, because I've just always been in a state for the last 10 years, ever since I've started a channel. I've always been in a state of feeling like there's something I can do. There's something I can build on. There's the next video I can make. There's the next idea I can put together, and that's it's not a healthy place to be in, to not feel like you can switch off. And I've had to sort of give myself a shake on a few of occasions and say, look, you've done X, Y, Z this week. You're working full time. You're trying to do a YouTube channel as well. Just, do you know what? Just have a Sunday where you don't do anything, and it's not a crime. And that, I would say, alongside confidence. This, by the way. Again, we've got major drama unfolding just as a time as I'm trying to make a serious point, but it's quite hard to. But yeah, so I'd say that alongside the confidence thing, where I do have I do have a problem. I do struggle with confidence, and I'm very harsh on myself. But also, I do struggle to switch off, and I have sort of a non-stop productivity conscience, whereby if I spend a few hours of a day off watching television, I feel like I have to compensate for that by spending the rest of the day making a video or anything that's productive, because I just feel guilty about having a few hours not doing. So that's an interesting aspect again that I've noticed in the last few years. This is only a sort of, since the conversations have started being had, I've actually checked up and gone, do you know what, actually I can do that better, or I can care for myself slightly better here.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think like it's because you become in charge of your own workload, really, and because I'm guessing you're doing your videos from home as well. There's nowhere to go to kind of switch off. You're always in a place where you could do a bit more. It's difficult to kind of.
That's a really good point, actually. Yes, you're absolutely right. My bedroom is the workroom. Therefore, I'm always in a scenario where I can help, where I can make progress with it, and that's why that probably almost triggers the the feeling of guilt when I'm not doing, because it's like, well, I'm in my workspace, so why am I not doing things productively?
Yeah.
And that absolutely, you're right, probably factors in. Can I just say that was unrelated to the topic being discussed, but that race was carnage, wasn't it? Towards the end, I was having a right do keeping myself on the road.
It's a bit of a challenge.
P6 I finished in the end. There we are. Sorry, I felt like that needed to be commented on. It was fantastic. I think there's a word for it. I can't think of what it is, but it's something like productivity disorder, where you just feel guilty about not doing something productive, and it's not right, and it's definitely an area of mental health that I have continued to fight against within myself.
I've definitely had problems like similar to that. Not really with YouTube. I mean, I do sometimes feel pressure not making videos because I haven't made too many in the last few months, and I've always felt like I could be doing something, but I don't really have something I want to do. But with when I was in school, in sixth form especially, and we had so much workload, and I found I had a tendency to overwork myself and just constantly be working, and that kind of played to my detriment a bit in the end, because I ended up just completely stressing myself out, and I think that was one of the catalysts for why I ended up going into a depressive episode, was because I can't switch off. Like if there's something that needs to be done, I feel like I need to do it, and I often end up doing it.
Yeah, I can totally empathise with that. I wouldn't obviously. It's not had as significant consequences as what you were describing for me. But yeah, this whole idea that you need to be productive, and I think it is easy to blame social media, and I think social media in general gets a lot of criticism when it does a lot of good in the world, but it gets rightfully criticised in some areas. But I do, and this for me is one of them, is that I do feel like, particularly, Instagram is probably my best example of a platform where it does seem very you're just faced with people that appear to be living ideal lives and appear to have it all, and that can sort of add to the sense of I need to be productive because I'm not, I need to achieve more because look what they're doing, and they're achieving all this greatness. And as I say, as a communicator, it's fantastic, and to an extent, YouTube's a social media platform, and that's been great for me on the whole. But I do find you got to be careful with it, because you can find yourself looking through it and feeling quite bad about. Well, I certainly find myself feeling, I can sort of be quite harsh on my circumstances, because I'm looking at old friends that seem to have this and that, and I'm thinking, oof. But it's actually, it's often not that. They don't post the full picture on Instagram. They just post what they want people to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing I struggle with at the moment, and this is an Instagram problem, is that they'll often throw like sponsored thing, like paid for advertisements in front of you, but often they're things that you're interested in, and it's often people doing these things that you're interested in. Like if you've been looking at, hotels in the Caribbean, you'll start getting adverts from people that are staying at these hotels and these amazing hotels, and it's just that to me just if I feel like Instagram's algorithm at times just throws things in your face that aren't going to be that pleasant to look at, because you just look at them with a sense of sort of yearning and wanting that thing, which isn't good for anyone. But that's another problem. That's another aspect of Instagram which I do find tough at times. But as I say, sometimes I find it's best to just with that aspect of it, the easier thing is you can press the button on the bottom of your phone and it's gone, and you don't have to go near it again until you're feeling slightly better.
Lando Norris is in P4. That tells you how much shenanigans are going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it all kind of stems from comparing yourself to other people. I think.
Yeah.
it's very easy to do that all the time, and different walks of life. And I think you have to kind of understand that that's something that's maybe not so healthy in a lot of situations, but like we said before, it's something that's difficult to turn off, really.
Yeah, my sister said something very interesting to me. We were having a similar conversation a few days ago, over Zoom, of course, given the current situation.
It's the modern way.
Yes, and she used a very, very poignant phrase which has stuck with me, actually, and I think it will stick with me for some time. She said, "Comparison is the thief of joy."
Wow.
And that really struck with me. I thought, do you know what? It is right, and that's kind of exactly what you were saying there. In that, to get yourself in a rut of comparison is, well, it's very easy to do, for starters. And I felt like it wasn't her phrase, but she couldn't remember where she found it. But it, for me, was right in the sense that it does often steal your joy because you're constantly feeling like the grass is greener somewhere else.
Yeah. Have you binned it, by the way?
What on earth makes you think that?
Well, it's just the fact that you've disappeared off my mini-map in the corner.
I may or may not have spun at the chicane.
Okay.
I may or may not have been reduced to 20th. However,
I've got a bit of a Yana Truly train going on, so...
The good news is I'm up to P19. Kibitz has been... I'm dicing my way through the field. It is quite difficult to talk and remember that you've not got traction control on. That's the sticking point that I'm up against at present.
In the rain, especially.
But it's all right. Fear not. We'll plough on. P19. Oh no! It just kicked me out and said I need to make sure I'm connected to Xbox Live.
No. Oh, I've just hit Hamilton.
What on earth's happened there?
Everything went wrong in about... You got kicked out of your own server.
Yeah, it just kicked me out. You can finish the race if you want. I won't judge you.
That's
How many
right.
laps left? Have you come out? Have you ended it? That was honestly that was the weirdest thing ever.
I was sideways and in the wall and in about P17, so...
Right, well, I can understand your...
It's probably not best to carry on.
Yeah, your decision was wise. Right, let's try that again.
I've gone a bit deep.
Oh, you've had him... Oh no, you've just had them all. Oh my word, you're getting absolutely gazumped into the first corner. How many coming past you?